So I'm going to direct the next question to Dr. Hammett. So Dr. Hammett, there are many skills that make up emotional intelligence. Can you walk us through these skills, please?
Yeah, sure. First, just let me say that I'm really happy to be with Dr. Lowe and Dr. Denver Potter today. Thanks for the invitation. It's good seeing you both again. Yeah, so one of the really unique things I think about the process that Dr. Lowe, Gary mentioned about the work that he and Darwin did, and it's been cited in the literature. It's a skills-based approach to emotional intelligence, and skills are so important of an aspect about this model of emotional intelligence, because if we can identify and learn and practice skills, then we can, in essence, increase our emotional intelligence through the behaviors, through these behaviorally based skills. And so there are really 10 skills and three potential problematic areas that we measure in emotional intelligence. And the three problematic areas actually can be reframed, flipped to focus on skill development as well. And so really it's in four parts. Part one is interpersonal. And so when Gary was talking about the importance of emotional intelligence for shaping, our career development and our relationships, then those interpersonal skills are the ones that really help us do that. And the skill called assertion is maybe the most important emotional skill, because assertion allows us to be able to communicate in ways that are honest and direct, and they take into consideration our emotions and put them on a level of respect equal to the other person that we're communicating with. So through assertion, we not only take care of our needs in communication, we take care of the other person's needs as well. And so it's a really important skill to learn and practice. And then in the second part, we have four measures, and these we refer to as leadership skills. And so they're like comfort is an important emotional intelligence skill. And think about comfort in terms of understanding appropriate social distance, physical distance. And boy, how applicable is that in today's coronavirus environment, where social distancing is the new norm. And so comfort's an important skill. It's social awareness and our ability to know and respect what appropriate distances are. Then the second skill under the leadership skills is empathy. And empathy is also an important skill because it's kind of your learned ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And it's really difficult to do that without kind of a grounding in that basic definition that Gary provided, the ability to think constructively and act wisely. You almost have to put yourself in other people's shoes to get to that constructive thinking part. Then decision making is an important leadership skill, and you all know what decision making is. And from an emotional intelligence perspective, it's your ability to trust your instincts, your intuition, to be able to make good decisions that are in the best interest of most of the people that are involved in the decision. And that's not often very easy to do. And so part of good decision making includes being able to bring in other people's perspectives and actually solicit ideas from other people about what good decisions could be made in particular situations. And then the last one under the leadership skills is personal leadership. We also call personal leadership positive influence, because we look at leadership in terms of influencing other people in positive ways, where the focus is no longer on my position as an authority, rather my position in the organization or in the team. And how do I influence people in positive ways from that perspective? Then the third part is self-management skills. And these skills have been correlated very highly to student success in college. And so drive strength, time management, and commitment ethic are the three skills under self-management. And drive strength is your goal-oriented abilities. How do you set and achieve goals, and how do you set priorities? And then it's closely related to commitment ethic. And, commitment is when I say I'm going to do something, do I follow through and get it done no matter what? And so that ethic part refers to an ethos about your level of commitments, a personal ethos, if that makes sense. And then time management is, we don't really say that we can manage time. We say that we have to learn how to manage ourselves in relation to time and the things that we've said that we would do. And that's time management. And you would think in this environment where we're all working remotely, time management might be easier. And I'm not finding that to be the case at all. So it has a lot to do with what you've taken on and, all the rest of the things in your life. So that's the self-management skills. The intrapersonal skills in the fourth part are really intrapersonal refers to, if you could talk about interpersonal in terms of how do I relate with other people, then if you think about intrapersonal, you think about how do I relate to myself and how do I keep that relationship as healthy as I can. And so we talk about two skills, intrapersonal skills, self-esteem and stress management. And so self-esteem is, just your ability to value yourself, even when perhaps you're not at your best, to have an accurate value of yourself. And then stress management is, do you healthily manage yourself when you feel stressors? And so those are important practice skills as well. Then finally, I mentioned three problematic areas: aggression, assertion, and deference. And aggression is just a measure of when I tend to feel stressed or in a high feeling situation, do I tend to communicate aggressively toward the other person? And deference is just the opposite of that. If I tend to feel high stressed, do I defer to the other person? And do I put them on a pedestal and make their feelings more important than mine? And so if you think about aggression and deference on the left and right, if you put the skill of assertion right in the middle, then you would have a skill-based way of mitigating your patterned response, whether it's aggression or deference. And so we often talk about assertion as an important skill in terms of patterned communication, aggression, and deference. And if you tended to be an aggressive communicator in high feeling states, then the skill to work on would be anger management or control combined with assertion, right? And if you deference tends to come from anxiety or fear. And so if you tended to communicate deferently in those high felt situations, then the skill to develop would be anxiety control or management combined with assertion. And then finally, the very last one is what we call change orientation. And change orientation is just it's literally the measure of your level of satisfaction with those 10 skills that I've already discussed on what we call the emotional skills assessment process, which is an instrument that I know, Lauren, you're familiar with. So, so those are the skills of emotional intelligence from our perspective.
Very positive skills, especially during this time that we're all facing.